Welcome back to Around the Table with Stacy Smith as we're talking about the national political scene. Now, we talked about Republicans, so let's talk about the Democrats at this moment. There are no debates scheduled for the Democratic presidential candidates, and there are a couple besides the president. And the latest average of polls by Real Clear Politics has President Biden leading those challengers by 60 points. President Biden may have a big lead over his challengers, but polls released by over the weekend show more than 3 out of 5 Democrats and those who lean Democrat say they would prefer someone other than President Biden. So, Joe, is this a problem for the president?
Well, no, maybe the question that the pollster should be asking is this: do you want Donald Trump to be the next president of the United States? And I suspect that that question would be in the negative column substantially from Democrats and many Republicans, and enough Republicans, because we're not talking about a standalone question here. It's what's the pairing? If it's Trump and Biden, who are you for? And I suspect that the advantage is Biden.
Well, I'm just hoping that Americans somehow come together, whether they're Republican, Democrat, Independent, Progressive. I mean, the time has come for principled people that care about America to say it's time to set aside the former president and the current president. We need new blood in that office for the good of America. The legal woes that are mounting for the former president will make it almost impossible to lead. And the health issues that are playing out in front of us for the current president and the mental capacity that seems to be wavering on him, and his confusion, and the fact that he's just naturally aging. That time will come for all of us. And I remember when the last show when we talked about the G20 and that very disturbing performance in India and I believe in Vietnam. And I talked off air with Stacy, and I said, Stacy, forget about it being a G20. Let's say it was a gathering of the largest companies in the world played out on television. And the company from America was represented by CEO Joe Biden. I said, before he landed back in the United States, in order to save the bleeding of their stock and everything, he'd have been given a golden parachute and retired. And they'd have made up some reason why he had the performance he did. They'd have to restore confidence in the company. I mean, it would happen before he even got back to the country. But in the president, we give him a pass. He is not in the position, as far as I'm concerned. There's even serious concerns of his ability to finish the next year and 5 months, let alone adding another 4 years to lead the free world. The time has come. I'm a Republican saying it's time to set former President Trump aside. Principled people that care about America have to say the time has come to go in a new direction for the Democratic nominee.
I can't let the narrative stand that Joe Biden's the only one who seems confused from time to time with this pairing. If you're following Donald Trump recently, he thought he ran against Barack Obama and beat him. It's what he said last week. And he was confused between Jeb Bush and George W. Bush. So, we have to face it. We have 2 old guys here. They get a little confused from time to time. And neither one can claim superiority necessarily over the other when it comes to issues like that. But I also want to remind my friend Keith that Ronald Reagan slept through his second term, and he still had a pretty good term. And I know that's one of Keith's heroes. But he was able to remain president because it's really about the people you surround yourself with.
Joe, at our age, naps are good.
Well, all right. So let me pose this question, and I'll just put it this bluntly, and I guess it's really for the governor and for Keith more than Joe or Jim. And that is basically, if you guys are in agreement that there has to be a change at the top as far as the nominee goes, how do you go about making that happen? What does a candidate have to do to become the big challenger to Trump and not be so afraid of that base of the Republican Party that they might lose?
Well, I don't think that the candidates out there right now are afraid of that base. That's why they're candidates. They're out there. They're trying to get support, and there is support out there.
Yeah, but they really don't take on the former president.
Well, and I think that is conditioning of being an elected official, being a politician. you don't really want to attack, I think they should be attacking. They're not going to lose any more votes than they already have. It's how you say it, what you say. And I think that they need to be talking about what they can get done that Mr. Trump can't get done, because he's embroiled in all this litigation that's not even going to end, even if he gets reelected going into his next term.
Unfortunately, we're in the unenviable position where they can't win it, these other opponents. The former president has to find a way to lose it. There has to be a moment. He has to make a mistake. Something has to break legally. Some revelation has to come up. Unfortunately, he is absolutely, unfortunately, squarely in the driver's seat. I don't think there's anything that anybody on that debate platform could do to overtake a 42-point lead and have a former president with money and a base. He has to make a mistake. Now, listen, we've been out, all these people on this call, this program have been politics for decades. Mistakes are made. Moments in time happen that we don't see coming. There could be that moment happen in the next 4 or 5 months, but it's going to have to be President Trump making a mistake. There's nothing his Republican opponents can do to overtake this lead on their own. He has to make a mistake.
All right, we only have about 45 seconds left, but I do want to ask each one of you this question, if you can say very quickly, are you in agreement with the change of the dress policy for the United States Senate?
No.
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 Embarrassing. That's
All right.
embarrassing that a Pennsylvania senator caused that.
Yep. Well, all right. Well, you got your words in very quickly. I appreciate that. Oh, boy.
Hey, we're all in agreement. Great time to end the show.
Yeah, that is a good time to end the show. Dogs and cats, Republicans and Democrats living together. This is something.
I think John.
Wonderful.
Hey, look, I think John's brilliant. I think he's a brilliant senator. I respect and admire his courage in facing those and admitting what he was battling through. He inspired millions of Americans. It's just, I just say it respectfully, Senator. It's just about decorum. It's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Yeah. Joseph?
Well, it's like if you're playing for the Steelers and you tell the coach, I want to wear a Browns uniform.
Yeah.
You don't get the pick, right?
All right, gentlemen, thank you. And thank you for joining us. And I hope that you join us again for our next edition of Around the Table with Stacy Smith.
Thanks, Stacy.